Heartless Summoning is a hilarious card that's deserved a bigger spotlight since it was printed back in original Innistrad, 2 mana for an enchantment that significantly reduces the cost of your creatures for the pesky drawback of a blanket -1/-1 for your entire team. I've seen decks trying to make this card work for a long time. Some of them to decent success, most of them to none. Today I'm showing you a budget competitive modern deck that can win on turn 2. This is going to be funny as heck. Click the first link in the description to see the list. You will not be disappointed. Enjoy! The deck's all-star is Heartless Summoning, but it's only one piece of the glorious puzzle we're putting together here. The second piece is Mirror Retriever. Specifically 2 Mirror Retriever. You see, Heartless Summoning reduces casting cost by 2, and it gives creatures -1/-1, which means that Mirror Retriever costs nothing to cast, and it dies as soon as it hits the battlefield. So if you play one Retriever with the Summoning out, it dies immediately and goes to the yard. Then you play the second one, dies immediately, triggers, returns the first one to your hand, which you can cast, and return the other one to your hand. You can keep doing this forever, an infinite loop of Retriever, retrieving, retriever. This combo is hilarious, but it doesn't win you the game. You're just massacring robots over and over again. That's where Altar of the Brood comes in. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent puts the top card of their library into their graveyard. With an Altar of the Brood out and your combo in full swing, infinite Mirror Retrievers will enter the battlefield, each of them triggering Altar of the Brood forever, milling out your opponents on the spot and then winning you the game. The best part about this combo is that it can win on turn 2 with just the cards we've talked about so far. Altar of the Brood on turn 1, Heartless Summoning on turn 2, then free Retrievers, boom, game over. Now this combo is hysterical and it just wins games out of nowhere by you drawing the combo naturally, which is delightful, but like most combo decks, it needs a package around it to help out, and we're confident we've created one of the most consistent spell packages possible for a strategy like this. The first step to making sure our combo goes off and we win is to make sure we actually draw all the combo pieces we need. We'll start with Altar of the Brood, our infinite mill engine. I've always loved Transmute, and it's just as good in this deck as any other. Dizzy Spell is a phenomenal card for this exact strategy. You can transmute it to find Altar of the Brood, since both have the same converted mana cost. Basically 4 extra copies of the Brood, but that isn't all. Dizzy Spell is simply a great card in this deck by itself. It's an instant that nukes a creature's power for a turn. This is a combo deck, remember? Creature decks are not fun early game. Extra Dizzy Spell can be used to stem bleeding or as a panic button to straight up avoid death. Dizzy Spell has saved this deck from losing in playtesting a number of times, serves a fantastic double role. Between our 4 Altar of the Brood and 4 Dizzy Spell, you might think that's consistent enough, but nope, it is not. Trinket Mage is a piece of tech we're proud of. Normally you wouldn't think of a card like this for a deck like this, seems clunky, doesn't serve much purpose, but besides tutoring 4 Altar of the Brood, Trinket Mage might as well be a pseudo removal spell against a lot of creature-based decks with small creatures. It's actually hysterical how many good creatures Trinket Mage trades with. I should make a slideshow. This human wizard is a beast at blocking with profit. Anyways, we needed a few more copies of Altar of the Brood with upside, and a creature we could actually get to stick on the battlefield. Genius, perfection. Even with Heartless Summoning out, a 1/1 has value. It's the weird modern world we live in. So we have a decent plan for getting Altar of the Brood consistently. Now we have to talk Heartless Summoning and Mirror Retriever. Thank goodness both of these cost 2 mana. Otherwise, there wouldn't be enough room in this deck to consistently tutor them both and the altar separately. The deck has 3 Muddle the Mixture. This card is the bomb in combo decks like this. Muddle the Mixture is everything you want out of a card for what we're trying to accomplish. It's a counterspell for instants and sorceries, the most annoying spell types against our combo. It can transmute over 2, grabbing both the Summoning and the Retriever. Just like Dizzy Spell, this serves a second purpose and makes it truly valuable throughout the game, especially if you get them in multiples and no longer need to tutor for something. So much added value on these transmute cards, and we're not even done yet. The deck also includes a full playset of Dimir Infiltrator, Solid Blocker, and Burn Sponge early in the game if you don't need the transmute, but it's definitely here to function as another tutor for our combo pieces. Like Trinket Mage before it, because it's a creature that survives Heartless Summoning, its life isn't long for this world, but it will perform its duty well every time. Whether that's tutoring for the win or blocking some stupid nonsense trying to kill us, either way the Infiltrator is just playing good here. Our last main deck piece of tutor goodness is Shred Memory. This card used to mostly be a filler transmute card for the 2 mana slot, but oh no, not anymore. Now this card is a straight ringer for Phoenix and Dredge, exiling 4 cards from the graveyard at a time. Incredibly brutal. No one ever sees it coming. It's so funny, I can't even properly explain it. Wrecking Arclight Phoenix with Shred Memory of all things, truly a beautiful experience and one that we all deserve to share. You will not regret using it, it's amazing. Anyway, Shred Memory gets our combo pieces, it's easy to cast, easy to transmute relatively speaking, and it just so happens to be awesome against like half of Modern right now. Main deck graveyard, hate that we were including no matter what. It's a good time to be alive and in Modern. We have our combo pieces in Altar of the Brood, Heartless Summoning, and Mirror Retriever. We have our Tutors with additional value in Dizzy Spell, Trinket Mage, Muddle the Mixture, Dimmer Infiltrator, and Shred Memory. The rest of the deck exists to do one thing and one thing only: make sure we can go off on our nonsense as soon as possible without being interrupted. Focusing on the as soon as possible part of the plan, we're running both Opt and Serum Visions. You want 6 of these in total. How you split them up is up to you, but I wouldn't go any lower than 2 Serum Visions, just a note there. Both of these cards give us deck filtering strength at a cheap cost, which is what we need. Assuming we don't have our combo pieces in our hand, chances are we'll have a cantrip or two that'll help us assemble everything we need, more digging and consistency to make sure everything happens the way it should. Then we have Duress, a lot of Duress. You can replace this with Thoughtseize if you want to, but it's mostly there to hit interactive spells that exist to stop your nonsense, especially post-board. Anyways, I wouldn't suggest running any less than 3 hand attack spells, as it's really your only way to be proactive in stopping your opponent from messing with you. We've had noticeable success with it, so I highly suggest it. And lastly, 2 Spell Pierce. We aren't running a ton of lands, we have no focus on non-basics, we need every mana we can get, and Spell Pierce obliges. Cheap as possible, counters most everything we hate in the first few turns of the game, and can just pop in there to stop the opponent from going off at a moment's notice. Worst case, you cast Spell Pierce into a player who can tap the mana, they tap the extra 2 which taps them out, goes to your turn, you bring your combo out of nowhere and win. We've used a Spell Pierce a number of times just to ensure no available mana is up on the other side. It's surprisingly helpful. Then there's 11 islands and 10 swamps in the 21 land mana base. Simple? Yes. Have we ever had problems casting things? Nope. This deck is just as funny as it looks, but also better than it looks, trust me. Heartless Summoning is a broken card on the face of it, but trying to maximize its benefits has taxed a ton of players' deck building time. Using it in this way is a bit unorthodox, but it does provide a fantastic combo that many won't see coming, and more importantly, a combo that you can put together at lightning speed. Remember, once you cast Heartless Summoning, there's no mana needed for the Retrievers, none at all, and they die right away, no summoning sickness nonsense. That's why the turn 2 kill is so devastating. There's no attack, no real build up to victory, it just sort of happens. And before your opponent knows it, they're dead. Milled out to Kingdom Come on turn 2. Early game interaction with a deck like this isn't all over the place. This type of strategy will never have sideboard slots dedicated to it, and most of the cards will either signal you're playing something totally different, or they won't signal anything at all because they're nonsense. Assemble your combo as fast as possible. If you have a Duress, fire that off first. If you have Spell Pierce, wait until you can hold it up. Same for extra Muddle the Mixture. Tutor aggressively for your pieces. You have to play your own game to win, but be smart about it. Now upgrade time. Upgrading this deck is a bit complicated because of what it's designed to do. If we're talking main deck upgrades, you can put Thoughtseize in for Duress, but we rarely target creatures. For lands, obviously blue-black dual lands that enter the battlefield untapped are what you want. Absolutely no tap lands under any circumstances. You need every mana you have every single turn until the game is over. Trust me, no tap lands. Untapped lands, fetches, duels you can pay to be untapped. You get my point, no tap lands. Sideboarding for a deck like this can be difficult. You want to make sure you're ready for whatever you're against, but you don't want to dilute the combo too much. Here are some suggestions. Shred Memory is only in the main deck in a limited quantity. The rest of the playset should be in your sideboard, and you should bring them in liberally against Phoenix, Dredge, really anything utilizing the graveyard. One of the best cards in your sideboard for sure, so use it. You want the rest of your discard playset here if it isn't already in your deck. Bring that in against control decks. If you want, including a 5th or 6th discard spell couldn't hurt. The same could be said for counter spells. Dispel, Negate, and Ceremonious Rejection all have their place in your sideboard for Control and Tron respectively, mainly because they're blanket protection for you, but also because they're cheap as heck. Dealing with control decks in Modern right now can be a real pain after all, and you don't want to lug around a Cryptic Command or Archmage's Charm in a deck not designed to cast spells with triple blue, get my point? Cheap, effective counter magic, anti-graveyard cards, and hand disruption. Besides that, I really must insist you keep the combo as fully intact as you can. The more you dilute it, the less consistent it becomes, meaning the worse it gets. None of us want that. Sideboard appropriately, gosh darn it. This Heartless Summoning mere trash pile combo deck is fun to play, it's fun to win with, and it steals games like crazy from tier 1 decks. It's just the best. If you're looking for a cheap change to the format, this is what you have to try. The entire deck's around $50 right now. Click the first link in the description to check it out and get it on the cheap. Helps the channel out a bunch. I really do hope you like this list. I've been jazzed about it for a while. It really is just the best. I'd love to hear what you're thinking about it, so please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments and we'll talk about it. Let me know what you want to see so I can make it happen for you. And as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.